The First War of Scottish Independence, which began in 1296 and raged on until 1328, was a time of great turmoil and heroism. It was a period where Scotland fiercely resisted English attempts to dominate the country. The war saw legendary figures such as William Wallace and Robert the Bruce rise to prominence, leading their countrymen in a relentless struggle for freedom. The conflict erupted when King Edward I of England invaded Scotland, determined to bring it under his rule, but the Scots, resolute in their desire for independence, fought back with all their might. The early years of the war were marked by bloody battles, including the Scottish victory at the Battle of Stirling Bridge in 1297, where Wallace and Andrew Maury defeated a much larger English force. However, the Scots faced setbacks too, such as the crushing defeat at the Battle of Falkirk a year later in 1298. Despite these ups and downs, the Scots never lost their determination and desire for self-governance and national sovereignty. The war dragged on, with the Scottish people enduring great hardships but refusing to submit. By 1303, the situation was dire. The English had established and captured strongholds throughout Scotland, and the Scottish forces were scattered, depleted in number and weary. Yet hope was not lost. In this desperate hour, Scottish leaders John Comyn and Simon Fraser devised a bold plan. John Comyn, also known as John the Red Comyn, was a prominent Scottish nobleman and guardian of Scotland, while Simon Fraser was a knight and experienced military leader. Together, they planned a daring assault on English forces. On a cold February morning, they gathered their forces near the village of Roslin, just south of Edinburgh. The English army, divided into 3 separate columns, was marching through the area, overconfident and unaware of the impending danger. This strategy aimed to cover more ground and effectively control the territory, but it also made each column more vulnerable to attack, and the Scots decided to take advantage of this decision. The English troops had every reason to be confident, with accounts estimating their numbers to be around 30,000 men, while the Scots numbered around only 8,000. Despite being hugely outnumbered, the Scots commanders, Comyn and Fraser, leveraged their intimate knowledge of the terrain to gain a significant advantage. They utilised the hilly, wooded landscape and the presence of the River Esk to outmaneuver and outsmart the larger English force. The battle began with a sudden assault on the first English column. Caught off guard, the English soldiers were quickly overwhelmed and driven back, with most of them either killed or wounded. Encouraged by this initial success, the Scots swiftly moved to attack the second column, achieving another decisive victory and claiming thousands of English lives. The final English column, demoralised and disorganised, fell last. 15th century Scottish historian John of Fordun wrote a description of the fight in his book, Chronica Gentis Scotorum. There never was so desperate a struggle, or one which stoutness of knightly prowess shone forth so brightly. The commander and leader in the struggle was John Comyn, the son but John Comyn, then Guardian of Scotland, and Simon Fraser with their followers. Day and night did their best to harass and annoy, by their general prowess, the aforesaid kings, officers and bailiffs. But the aforesaid John Comyn and Simon, with their abettors, hearing of their arrival, and wishing to steal a march rather than have one stolen upon them, came briskly through from Biggar to Roslin in one night, with some chosen men, who chose rather death before an unworthy subjection to the English nation, and all of a sudden they fearlessly fell upon the enemy. The Scots had achieved an extraordinary triumph against overwhelming odds, with estimates putting the English losses as high as 30,000, although this is believed to be an exaggeration based on 15th century retellings of the battle. The Battle of Roslin was a remarkable episode in the First War of Scottish independence, a testament to the courage and ingenuity of the Scottish forces. It demonstrated that even in the darkest of times, the Scots were capable of remarkable feats, driven by their unwavering desire for freedom. Amidst the aftermath of this historic battle, on the outskirts of the village of Roslin, Rosslyn Chapel and Castle stand as symbols of the area's rich history and mystery. Roslin Castle's history dates back to the early 1300s, when it was initially constructed as a timber structure for the Sinclair family, a prominent Scottish noble lineage. Originating from France, the Sinclairs, known as St. Clairs, have held Roslin since 1280. Over time, the castle underwent gradual reconstruction and expansion, evolving into a formidable stone fortress. Throughout Scottish history, it played a pivotal role, witnessing various conflicts, including the Wars of Scottish Independence. Today, much of Roslin Castle lies in ruins, after being subjected to heavy artillery fire from Cromwell's army in 1650. When they'd finished, they left just the buttress still standing. However, some parts have been restored and are still inhabited. Rosslyn Chapel, officially the Collegiate Chapel of St Matthew, was founded in 1446 by Sir William Sinclair, the first Earl of Caithness. The chapel was meant to be a place of worship and a collegiate church, where prayers would be said for the souls of the Sinclair family. Although construction continued for nearly 40 years, it was never completed as originally planned. The original plans included designs for a nave and a tower, which were never finished. And these unfinished parts remain as they were during the construction period, providing insight to the ambitious architectural vision that was never fully realised. Despite this, Rosslyn Chapel is celebrated for its intricate and symbolic carvings, which have inspired numerous legends and theories. Perhaps the most well-known carving within the chapel has come to be known as the Apprentice pillar. The Apprentice pillar, also known as the Prentice pillar, stands as a masterpiece of medieval stone carving. Loved for its intricate design and symbolic significance, and according to legend, the pillar holds a tale of tragedy, inspiration, and remarkable craftsmanship. There are many legends as to its origins, but the one that stuck with me the most tells of its creation during the 15th century. As the story goes, the master mason responsible for overseeing the construction of Rosslyn Chapel was tasked with designing a pillar of unparalleled beauty. However, the mason fell ill before completing his work, leaving the apprentice to carry out the intricate carving in his absence. Inspired by a vision or dream, the apprentice began carving the pillar, pouring his heart and soul into every detail. Legend has it that the design he created was so exquisite and intricate that it surpassed even the master mason's expectations. However, upon returning from his illness, the master was consumed by jealousy and rage upon seeing the apprentice's masterpiece. In a fit of jealous fury, the mason struck down the apprentice, killing him on the spot. And it's said that the apprentice's blood stained the stone pillar, leaving a permanent mark that can still be seen today. Some versions of the legend suggest that the master mason was so remorseful for his actions that he carved his own face into the opposite side of the pillar as a tribute to the apprentice's skill and dedication. Regardless of the specifics of the legend, the Apprentice pillar stands as a remarkable example of the skill and craftsmanship of the medieval artisans responsible for constructing Rosslyn Chapel. This murderous act has echoed through the ages, and the spirit of the slain apprentice has been reportedly seen standing near the masterpiece that would cost him his life. Another of the most enduring legends associated with the chapel is its supposed connection to the Knights Templar. This medieval Christian military order was known for its role in the Crusades and its mysterious disappearance. Some theories suggest that the Sinclair family, who had ties to the Templars, incorporated Templar symbolism and secrets into the chapel's design. These theories include the possibility that the chapel was a repository for Templar treasures, or even the Holy Grail. Though these claims lack historical evidence, they have fueled popular imagination and speculation. Even before Rosslyn Chapel was built, the site was believed to hold spiritual significance, possibly used by the Templars or earlier religious groups. The exact nature of this earlier use remains a subject of debate among historians and archaeologists. The chapel and castle continue to captivate visitors with their historical and architectural significance. The chapel in particular gained international fame through its inclusion in Dan Brown's novel The Da Vinci Code, which brought renewed attention to its mysterious carvings and Templar connections. Today, both Roslyn Chapel and Castle remain important cultural and historical landmarks, drawing tourists and researchers alike who seek to unravel their secrets and appreciate their beauty, and both sites are said to be haunted. In July 2006, as the Edinburgh Festival drew near, a group of young actors, filled with excitement, gathered in Roslyn Chapel to rehearse for their upcoming performance. Amidst these ancient stone walls, their voices echoed with the promise of theatrical magic. As the rehearsal reached its crescendo, one actor, a young man in his early 20s, paused, his attention caught by a shimmering, seemingly spectral figure that could be seen flitting through the grounds of the chapel. It danced with ethereal grace, its form reminiscent of fairy tales of old. Though others dismissed it as a trick of the light, the actor remained transfixed, sensing something supernatural in its presence. Later that evening, as the last echoes of the performance faded and the sun began to dip below the horizon, another actor found himself with the task of locking up the chapel alone. Just as he was about to secure the doors, a faint sound permeated through the silence. At first, he put it down to his friends carrying on the rehearsals as they packed up their equipment. But the sound that reached his ears was different, so he stopped what he was doing, put the keys into his pocket, and listened intently. The noise came again, this time louder, closer and clearer. And this time, he knew it wasn't his friends. It was the laughter of a child, echoing from the depths of the cold, dark crypt. Naturally concerned that a child might be trapped inside, he hurried down into the dimly lit chamber, but as he descended the stone steps into the crypt's shadowy embrace, the laughter faded into silence. The crypt lay empty, devoid of any sign of life. Bewildered but convinced at what he'd heard, the actor searched every corner, every shadow, but found no trace of this elusive child. Perplexed and unsettled, he returned to his friends, who were enjoying the last of the fresh air and watching bats as they began their nocturnal flight. Despite his attempts to shake off the eerie encounter, the memory of the laughter lingered in his mind, and he was compelled to tell his friends. As his tale unfolded, the other actors huddled together, exchanging murmurs of speculation. Was it a mere figment of his imagination, sparked by the eerie atmosphere of the chapel? Or had the fleeting encounter been a glimpse into the realm of the supernatural? Perhaps the solitary actor, entrusted with securing the ancient site, had also stumbled upon something truly otherworldly within the sacred confines of Rosslyn Chapel. Since time immemorial, Roslyn Chapel has been a sanctuary for monks, a sacred refuge where prayers ascended like incense to the heavens. Yet some say that not all who sought solace within its walls departed in peace. Legends speak of monks who still linger, their spectral forms bound to the chapel's ancient stones. Among them one lone ghostly figure seemingly stands vigil at the crypt's altar, his transparent form illuminated by flickering candlelight. Witnesses recount a solitary monk deeply immersed in prayer, with head bowed and hands clasped in devout reverence. He appears lost in a timeless reverie, oblivious to the mortal world around him, embodying Rosslyn Chapel's enduring sanctity. Incredibly, on several occasions when he has been encountered, he's not alone. 4 ghostly knights stand guard beside him, their quiet observation veiled in enigma, a puzzle unaffected by the passage of time. Who could these knights be? Given the chapel's links to the Knights Templar, is it possible they have links to this historic order? Or could they be members of the Sinclair fighting force? Perhaps they are simply warriors of old, praying for protection before riding off into a battle they may never have returned from. In 2010, workmen undertook some overnight work within the chapel. However, after 3 separate groups completed their overnight shifts, all unanimously vowed never to return for night work there. While many remained tight-lipped about their reasons, one worker recounted feeling an eerie sensation while repairing the steps leading to the crypt. He sensed a presence behind him, and upon turning, spotted a monk garbed in a brown cassock observing him. Startled, he swiftly exited the premises and urged the night watchman to inspect the area, yet no monk was to be found. Throughout the ages, countless souls have also reported mysterious noises echoing through the chapel's walls. Some speculate that these eerie sounds could be the echoes of centuries-old rituals performed by monks in solemn devotion. Others suggest that they may be the restless whispers of spirits trapped between worlds, their presence haunting the sacred space. Yet the true origin of these enigmatic sounds remains a puzzle, shrouded in the mists of time, awaiting discovery by those brave enough to unravel its secrets. While Rosslyn Chapel is world famous for its secrets and mysteries, the nearby castle is equally remarkable, boasting its very own supernatural secrets. On the Sinclair family's ancestral land, beneath the looming presence of the castle's remains, tales are told of a mysterious, imposing figure. Passed down through generations, these stories tell of a spectral rider, shrouded in darkness, and mounted on a huge black phantom horse who's seen in the woods around the castle and seemingly patrolling the roads leading to the castle. Often, signs of him are preceded by the heavy, rhythmic hoofbeats of his mighty horse before he comes into view and terrifies those unfortunate enough to witness him. It was on the winding roads that skirt the castle's domain that motorists, unsuspecting travellers of the modern age, first encountered the apparition. 3 separate occasions bore witness to the ghostly manifestation of a black knight on horseback, his translucent form materializing to horrified witnesses in the dead of night. Within the Sinclair family, the stories of the haunting became ingrained in their history, becoming a part of their heritage. While the identity of the Phantom Rider remains unknown, speculation thrives among those intrigued by the mysteries of the past. Some believe he's a knight from the distant past, lost in the chaos of battle long ago. Others think he watches over the land, bound by duty or an unfinished task. But whatever the theories, one fact is clear: the legend of the Black Knight persists, adding to the mysteries of the Sinclair estate. Legend tells of a spectral presence that haunts the ancient halls of Roslin Castle, the ghost of a white lady. It's said that she was once a maiden of the Sinclair family, ensnared by an evil spell cast upon her by dark forces, and she sleeps in an enchanted chamber awaiting the touch of a noble knight to break the curse that binds her. Another, somewhat less romantic version of the story suggests she was a maid, responsible for looking after the Sinclair children at the castle. According to this account, she became frightened by a mouse and accidentally dropped her candle, which started a fire. Tragically, she perished in the flames. It's said that her ghost has been sighted in the castle, holding the candle that started the fire that cost her her life. A third version of the story suggests that within the ancient castle lies a hidden treasure, protected by the White Lady. Legend holds that she can only be roused and the treasure uncovered by sounding a trumpet while standing on a specific step of one of the staircases. Over the generations, her story has evolved. Each retelling adds fresh details. Some claim that the knight who saves her will be rewarded with great wealth, their destinies entwined in a tale of fate. But who will be brave enough to break her enchantment? Who will venture into the depths of Roslin Castle, where the shadows lurk and whispers echo, to claim the prize that awaits? As the legend lives on, the ghost of the White Lady continues her silent watch, a reminder of the enduring themes of love and redemption. The oldest tale associated with the castle recounts the haunting of the woods surrounding the castle by a phantom hound, its mournful howls piercing the darkness on stormy nights. According to legend, detailed in R. Robertson MacDonald's More Highland Folktales from 1964, the spectral origins date back to a fateful encounter on the 24th of February 1303. During the Battle of Roslin Glen, an English knight accompanied by his formidable warhound fell to a Scottish soldier. Enraged, the hound turned on its master's assailant, prompting the Scotsman to defend himself by slaying the beast. That very night, within the confines of the castle, the ghostly apparition of the hound materialised in the guardroom, sending waves of terror through the soldiers. Henceforth, the spectral canine made nightly appearances, earning the moniker Modd Dubh among the troops. One evening, it was the turn of the soldier who dispatched the hound's master to stand guard. As he patrolled the castle's corridors with the keys in hand, he was confronted by the menacing snarls of the phantom hound. Overwhelmed with fear, he let out a piercing scream before fleeing in blind panic. He never recovered from the ordeal, succumbing to the silence and passing away 3 days later. Though the hound vanished from the castle thereafter, the haunting echoes of its baying persist to this day. One more modern account happened in the 20th century and was recounted by a local man named John Ritchie. He told, "I was born and brought up in Roslin and went to school in the village. When I was about 12 years old, my friend Neil and I spent quite a bit of time playing in Roslin Castle, as Neil's aunt was the caretaker and lived in the castle for some 40 years. We explored most of the nooks and crannies of the castle, as boys of that age are wont to do. One Saturday, near the end of February, my birthday is the 25th of February, this is why I remember it, we were exploring the second level corridor which connects the monks' cells to the old scriptorium and the dungeons, when all of a sudden we were aware of some light coming from the end of the corridor, which had the windows blocked up, and there was normally no light coming from that area. The light grew in intensity, which was enough to alarm the senses of two 12-year-olds, who admittedly were searching for just this kind of experience. We both looked at each other to check that we were both aware of the phenomenon. We both turned at the same time and took off along the corridor at what seemed like record-breaking speed, until we came to the old main kitchen, which was a big room with a stone staircase which is built into the right-hand side or the east wall of the castle. As we hurried up the stair, we looked down to see the light, which had begun growing and moving towards us. Down the corridor was what appeared to be a large wolfhound-type dog, which ran underneath us and appeared to go straight through the wall next to the large fireplace, which was the old main cooking area for the castle. we did not stop until we got up the staircase and through the door into the upper part of the castle. There, we ran straight into Neil's aunt, who could tell from our nervous state that something had happened. When we blurted out the story, she smiled and said, "Aye boys, it's an old castle with lots of strange things like that. But dinna worry about them, they'll no harm you. Come and have a bottle of lemonade." Nothing more was said. We drank our lemonade and had some biscuits, and the sense of fear dropped away. But we did not go near that particular corridor for quite a long time. Much later, we looked at the wall where the apparition of the dog had disappeared, to find that it had once been a doorway, and the arch from the door is still there today. Neil's aunt lived at the castle on her own for about 40 years as the sole caretaker and tourist guide. And many times recently I've wished that I had spoken more to her about her experiences at the castle. But youth rejects the wisdom of age, and it's only now I regret missing the opportunities gifted to youth. As twilight descends upon the ancient stones of Roslin Castle and Rosslyn Chapel, the echoes of bygone eras linger in the air, whispering tales of the past. The spectral guardians, both benevolent and enigmatic, continue their silent vigil over these historic lands. Legends of the White Lady, the Black Knight, and the mysterious monk endure, woven into the fabric of local lore. Their ghostly presence, though elusive, serves as a reminder of the enduring mysteries that shroud these historic sites. For centuries, visitors have been drawn to the castle and chapel, captivated by their rich history and supernatural intrigue. While some may dismiss the tales as mere folklore, others find solace in the possibility that the spirits of the past still wander among the living. As the stars twinkle overhead, and the moon casts its silvery glow, the ghosts of Roslin Castle and Chapel remain ever present, their stories etched into the very soul of these ancient landmarks. And so, the legacy of these spectral guardians lives on, immortalised in the whispers of the wind and the shadows of the night.